Hey, hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson. Today we're watching Crime Watch. This is the family seeks answers after teen vanishes amid fight with boyfriend.
I really don't want to have to leave this world not knowing what happened to my daughter.
Did she run away or did she meet with foul play? The last known man to see her alive, her boyfriend, claims she stormed off after a fight.
He's just a low life bum.
Melissa McCarty was a mother on a mission, a trail of red flags, drugs, sex, money, and a bombshell discovery that throws the case into a tailspin.
What is that?
Then, in a heated, wild-about trial, an aspiring pastor accused of murdering his wife.
I have blood all over me, and there's a bloody knife on the bed.
Did the cold medicine make him do it?
He will be acquitted.
Misty, come on.
This is a guy who stabbed his wife, and we're just supposed to believe, oh, the cold meds did it.
Plus, cheaters beware. This scorned ex-husband isn't going after his ex-wife. He's suing the doctor she had an affair with. He wants at least $100,000. Does he get it? Right now.
So, let's go. Jason Matella with Crime Watch Daily.
I'm Michelle Sedona from Crime Watch Daily.
Elizabeth Smart from Crime Watch Daily.
It's Anna Garcia from Crime Watch Daily. You got anything to say?
It's Crime Watch Daily.
What do you mean, Dodo? She's 13. You're running away now?
Welcome to Crime Watch Daily. I'm Chris Hansen. Today we join in a mother's tireless effort to find out what really happened to her daughter. Our Melissa McCarty is in Texas now with more.
Chris, we are here in Austin, Texas, where the family of Roxanne Paultop has not given up hope that they will find out what happened to the missing teen.
Happy birthday to you.
A teenage girl gone without a trace.
I don't think she realized that she was playing with fire.
And a mother on a mission to find her daughter.
We're trying to put a puzzle together, and we need that missing link.
But what she'll uncover,
He does have a criminal side too, a dark side. So anything's possible.
will lead investigators on a manhunt for the usual suspects who are anything but.
They have something to hide, and they're hiding.
I really don't want to have to leave this world not knowing what happened to my daughter.
It's summertime in Austin, Texas.
Go ahead, Roxanne.
And the Paultop sisters, Roxanne, Rosalind, Veronica, Ruby, and their mother Elizabeth, can be found keeping cool at nearby Lake Travis.
I will.
Roxanne, jump way out.
He rocks right there. You hit him.
But when the July 4th weekend rolls around, the weather goes from hot to a sweltering heat wave.
You got to understand, it was the craziest summer ever. It was one of the hottest summer Austin, Texas ever had. It was hitting over 100 every day. It was hot. It was miserable. And people act crazy in the summertime with heat.
But Elizabeth Harris could never know just how crazy things were about to become when her oldest daughter Roxanne asked to spend this traditionally family-filled holiday instead with her boyfriend, Louis Walls.
You had a big family outing, and you wanted her to be a part of it, but she chose to hang out with her boyfriend.
I was kind of disappointed because usually it was a family ordeal.
But it's Roxanne and Louis's 2-year anniversary, so her mother reluctantly agrees.
She said, I'll be home in a couple of days. And I said, that's fine. She always called me every day. We always kept in touch. And, I knew she would be all right.
And when Roxanne returns from her romantic getaway, Elizabeth plans to take her eldest and the rest of her kids on a shopping spree.
We were supposed to go shopping at the outlet mall. This is a Saturday. My mom spoke to Roxanne that Friday before, letting her know what time to be home, what time we're leaving.
Then, after Roxanne's phone call with her mom, several hours pass. According to her family, Roxanne should be home already, but instead she makes another phone call to her mom,
saying that I'm going to spend one more night with him and I'll be home in the morning. And I was kind of upset that she didn't just come home and we could have left early and gone shopping, but I said, okay, fine.
Roxanne said, don't worry, I'll be there.
Then Saturday morning arrives.
Roxanne never showed.
Roxanne's family assumed she got caught up with her anniversary celebration. Plus, Roxanne's an adult adult now, turning 18 6 months ago, so they give her some space and continue on with their Saturday plans.
Went ahead and went shopping that day. It was in another town. And we came back that evening, probably around 4-ish.
Then finally, a call from Roxanne's cell phone, but it's not her voice on the other line.
It was Lewis on the line, and I was just kind of, yeah, why are you using her phone? Why are you calling? He goes, have you seen Roxanne? And that was just peculiar. I said, what do you mean, have I seen her? She's with you. What's going on?
Roxanne's sister Rosalind is standing in earshot of the conversation. What did he say?
He said they got into an argument, that she stormed out, and he tried to go after her, but she was too mad.
So mad, according to Lewis, that Roxanne left the hotel empty-handed.
Then Lewis goes on and says that I have her cell phone, she didn't take her purse with her, I have everything of hers.
Does that sound like your sister to just walk off without her purse and cell phone?
Absolutely not.
The Peltoff family is panicked.
She's just gone. Something's not right.
And already time isn't on their side.
That was last night. And here's almost 24 hours later, and you don't know where she's at, and we've got to find her. And I immediately got in the car and went down to the area.
But when Roxanne's family arrives to the motel where Lewis and Roxanne spent their romantic weekend, it's hardly a lover's paradise. In fact, it's downright terrifying.
I really didn't know about Runberg area until I started hanging out there trying to look for my daughter, and I realized how rough it was. And it's not a place where you want your daughter.
Jordan Smith is a staff writer with the Austin Chronicle.
Austin is a very vibrant town. It has a large flagship university. When you start to move north, you tend to get into sort of a little bit rougher neighborhood, known for street crime, a lot of flophousey kind of motels you get rent by the hour.
This area is the Austin corridor, known as Runberg, the last known place Roxanne was seen.
And I did call the police, but she's 18. It was a day or two later before they responded, I knew in my mind I had to take action. This is my daughter. It's nobody else's responsibility. I got to do what I got to do.
Meanwhile, Roxanne's frantic mother tells Lewis to call police too.
He was there. He was the last one to see her, so he knows more of what happened.
Detective James Scott takes the call.
We almost had two simultaneous calls, police reports, one from Elizabeth, who is Roxanne's mom, and then we had one from Lewis Walls.
Lewis tells cops the same thing he told her mother.
They'd gotten in an argument, and she had stormed off.
But was he telling the truth? And just who is Lewis Walls? Coming up,
drugs, sex, money.
Roxanne's boyfriend isn't what he seems.
He's just a low-life bum.
But is he involved in his girlfriend's disappearance, or could it be someone else?
He had her pinned to the floor and was choking her.
We're back with more of the Texas Motel Mystery. Here's Melissa McCarthy.
Chris, it starts with an argument between a teen and her boyfriend at this motel in Austin. What happens next would kick off a decade-long mystery.
There's Roxanne's room. We're doing this for Grandma. Hi, Grandma. I love you.
Time is of essence. I got to find my daughter.
There are a series of clues to Roxanne Peltoff's disappearance that begin to surface for cops.
Which kind of, in and of itself, bumps it up a level.
She's been missing since Friday night. It's now Sunday morning, and still no word from the 18-year-old Austin teen.
From this point on, I don't know what happened to her.
But one thing is for sure, Lewis Walls was in no rush to report Roxanne's disappearance to the authorities.
Lewis didn't let Roxanne's mom know for quite some time. He didn't report that night that she didn't come back. He didn't report the next morning that she didn't come back.
You heard right. Lewis takes a full 24 hours to report his girlfriend missing.
As a detective, that's a big alarm for me. Well, he was already at home, had already supposedly picked up everything from the room and taken it and checked out of the hotel.
And by the time cops arrive at the motel,
3 days have passed with us not even being aware that someone was missing. It gives time for the hotel to have other tenants in.
It's a devastating blow to the investigation, and it was about to get even more complicated.
Because of the bookkeeping at the front desk, it was almost impossible to determine exactly what room they were in.
So detectives turn their attention to the evidence that does exist. The items Lewis says she left the night she ran off. But first, they need to get them back from Lewis.
The fact that all that stuff is left behind is incredibly creepy. And I think one of the other disturbing things about that is what Lewis does afterward is he keeps her possessions.
5 long days, according to her family. Then finally, Lewis returns them.
What did he return, and what did you make of what he gave you?
He gave back her purse and her cell phone, and the jewelry that she usually wears, everything, and also a bag of clothes.
But when they go through her bag of clothes, there's a big problem.
They were not Roxanne's. I know her clothes. You know, I'm her sister. I know every article of clothing that she has. They were not hers.
Then detectives make another startling discovery when they pull the missing teen's cell phone records seen here.
It was calls every 2 or 3 minutes. It's as if someone didn't answer, just call after call after call.
More than 300 calls in all after Roxanne went missing. And just who is dialing up a storm on the missing girl's cell?
Lewis Walls.
That's right, Roxanne's own boyfriend.
He started using her cell phone and making calls that obviously he would not be making with Roxanne in the room.
So who is Lewis calling?
The 1-800-SEX lines.
And another frequent number that pops up?
His ex-girlfriend in New Mexico.
But calling 1-800-SEX lines and an ex-girlfriend isn't a crime. So Austin PD detectives keep digging and speak with the motel clerk working the night Roxanne disappeared.
There was a clerk that said, yes, I did see her leave. I did see him follow her.
The clerk's story matches Lewis Wall's account of the night in question.
He said they got into an argument that she stormed out, and he tried to go after her, but she was too mad, so he stayed inside.
But he wasn't alone in his motel room for long. As cops question the motel clerk further, they learn she's handling more than the books.
The young lady indicated that from late that night after her shift, she had gone to the room and spent time with Lewis until the wee hours of the morning.
His girlfriend, supposedly girlfriend, walks out, storms off, and all of a sudden he's intimate with another woman within hours.
Exactly.
Which leads detectives to wonder if Lewis was expecting Roxanne to return ever.
Any reasonable person would say to themselves, okay, if I just got in an argument with my girlfriend, would it behoove me to bring another girl into this room right now knowing that she's going to return here at some point because all of her stuff is here?
Now, police want to know, did Roxanne walk away, or is there something more sinister at play?
It's kind of a shotgun blast of everything.
Detectives want to speak to Lewis Walls, but he's refusing to cooperate.
Lewis told me several times, hey, you're trying to frame me, you're trying to put this on me, and
no, you were the last person to see her alive.
And that's what I try to explain to Lewis. Hey, if you didn't do this, help me. You know, you supposedly loved Roxanne. Let's me and you make a team. Let's work together. Come help me figure out what happened.
But while Lewis isn't talking, Roxanne's sisters are, and they have a frightening tale to tell. Just months before Roxanne goes missing,
we were coming home, and we saw Roxanne at a bus stop. She was wearing sunglasses, so we, of course, pulled over and told her to come on in. You know, you're going home anyways. We happen to be on that side of town, and she takes off her sunglasses, and there's this completely black and white across her face. She had a broken nose, and it was detached, and she had to have surgery.
Roxanne tells her family that she got caught in the middle of a fight between Lewis and some other men. But after Roxanne goes missing, her family discovers a darker take on the events from a couple of Roxanne's friends.
Lewis did, in fact, punch her and cause that injury.
But cops have no proof that Lewis attacked Roxanne. The investigation seems to be stalling.
I have no probable cause right now to arrest him.
Then 6 days after Roxanne's disappearance, a domestic disturbance call comes into Austin PD. The location? A motel next door to the one where Roxanne was last seen.
It was somewhat of a perfect storm.
And perhaps the perfect break cops are looking for.
A security officer that happened to be walking by looked in the windows.
And according to police reports, the security guard sees a man and a local stripper in the middle of a struggle.
He had her pinned to the floor and was choking her and trying to get her clothes off.
The man takes off before police arrive, but he leaves some things behind.
His hearing aids had fallen out during the tussle and had left behind his wallet.
Eventually, the suspected assailant returns to retrieve his belongings, now in the hands of police officers. The man is identified as Jeffrey Moore.
Jeffrey Moore was somewhat of a sexual predator. He would hire ladies of the night from that area and take them to hotel rooms. However, Jeffrey was somewhat rough.
And when police questioned Jeffrey about the alleged assault,
he said, "Hey, no, I know that girl. Yeah, we were going to have sex, da-da-da." And the young lady, now that she is safe, has said, "Look, I don't want to be a part of this." She refused to cooperate.
There are no charges brought against Jeffrey concerning this incident, but before cops let Jeffrey go,
They were questioning Jeffrey, let me see your ID, this natural routine of what the police do.
and make a discovery that's about to rock this case to its core.
Roxanne's ID fell out.
Now cops have a new person of interest in the
Go down.
investigation, and he's
Go
not
down
Roxanne's
there or
boyfriend.
go over there.
He's a game changer
Go.
that's about to lead detectives
Go.
to stunning new developments. Coming up,
Just tell us where she's at.
2 men,
One of them knows what happened to my daughter.
1 missing girl,
Kind of all I come to a head.
and a
Over there.
race against time.
Go on.
They found a body under a bridge.
But is it Roxanne?
Teenager Roxanne Paltoff is missing, but in the time she's unaccounted for, her cell phone has been very busy. In fact, it was used to make more than 300 phone calls. The caller, the last known person to see her alive, her boyfriend. However, as police investigate him, another key piece of evidence will literally drop into their hands. Here's Melissa McCarty.
Gone.
Does she know that I'm looking for her? Does she know that I love her?
Austin teenager Roxanne Paltoff has been missing for almost a week after walking off during an argument, according to her boyfriend, Louis Walls.
She was out there all alone.
Then a big break when Austin PD responds to a domestic disturbance call and questions a man by the name of Jeffrey Moore.
The police were able to take his wallet.
The police went through his wallet and found Roxanne's ID.
But Jeffrey says he can explain.
Jeffrey said, "No, it's a friend, and we went out somewhere, and I had her ID, was holding it."
A missing 18-year-old girl's life is on the line, so detectives push.
Jeffrey was asked again, "How did you come to have this?"
Feeling the squeeze, Jeffrey offers up additional details to police.
I was downtown at a club, and we started talking, and I was about to leave the club, and they asked me if I could give them a ride to Runberg. Roxanne must have dropped her ID in his car.
His story sets off alarm bells with detectives.
Completely contradicts the story he told the first time, that she's a friend of mine, I really want to give it back to her.
Right away, investigators track down Jeffrey Moore's car. Inside, they spot an ominous dark stain. They send it to the crime lab for testing. And when the DNA results come back,
Evidently, it wasn't Roxanne, so, it could have been anybody's.
and as for that stain, nothing more than dried ketchup. Jeffrey Moore remains a person of interest, but takes a back seat in the investigation for now. Meanwhile, police turn their attention back to Roxanne's boyfriend, Louis Walls.
I truly believe that he has the answers.
And big little lies, according to police.
Roxanne met Louis when she was 16. Louis purported to her and her family that he was 18 at the time.
Try more like 28. That's right, Louis is an imposter who set his sights on a much younger girl.
I didn't really find out his true age until after Roxanne disappeared. He was approximately 11 years older than her. So in my mind, if they met at 16, he's a pedophile.
But there's more. Police records reveal Louis has a long rap sheet with a criminal history landing him in and out of jail.
If you've lived this life long enough to be a sociopath, if you have a one-track mind, if it's drugs, sex, money, Well, that's all you're going to think about.
Despite the shocking fact that Roxanne's boyfriend turns out to be a much older, convicted felon, police still don't have any direct evidence to connect him to her disappearance. It's a frustrating reality for her family.
I think something happened to Roxanne that night. I don't think she ever walked out to go cool off. I think they got into an argument and he hurt Roxanne.
Determined to find justice and bring Roxanne home, once again the Paltov family heads to the area she was last seen, handing out missing persons posters.
So she's out there, we still need to find her one way or another.
And asking questions.
Have you seen her before? We're letting everybody know in that area she's missing and, we're here. We want to know what happened to her.
I just spoke with everybody in that neighborhood, and it wasn't all the greatest neighborhood at all. I got to account for that. It was a whole bunch of hotel rooms everywhere. There were drug dealers in that area. There were, street girls out there.
One going by the name Loretta.
She came up to me, hey, have you found your daughter? I said, no, I'm still searching. And she reached down and got her cross, and she goes, I'm going to help you find your daughter.
Sadly for the Paltov family, almost 2 weeks passed and still no word from Roxanne.
There was just no sign of her.
Then there's news, and it's not good.
They found a body under a bridge.
Detective Scott was hoping to cushion the blow for Roxanne's mother. What was that like, going to her mom and saying we might have found her?
Unfortunately, the mom heard about it on the news that a body was located.
The Paltovs braced for the worst.
We got a call from the police department asking if we can have Roxanne's dinner records ready.
But when the coroner's office officially IDs the body, it's stunning news for the Paltov family. The dead woman is not Roxanne. Who was it?
It was that woman that we met on the street.
It's a tragic twist. The dead body found under the bridge belongs to Loretta, the very same woman who told Roxanne's mother she would help find her daughter. But when details emerge about how the woman died, it's a brutal revelation.
There was paper towels shoved down her throat. Honestly, I think that she was asking a lot of questions, trying to find out what happened. Maybe she did find out what happened, and maybe they were trying to shut her up.
But who wanted to shut her up, and why? And did it have anything to do with Roxanne's disappearance? Coming up,
I killed someone, and I'm out here, and they can't touch me.
Bad guy bravado.
He's going around bragging about what he did to Roxanne.
Or an admission of guilt.
One of them knows what happened to my daughter.
I go straight to the source, looking for answers.
So 2 cars, 2 different views on this apartment complex, looking for Louis Walls.
Now to the conclusion of today's story, the Texas Motel Mystery. Melissa McCarty is back in Austin trying to get some answers.
Chris, the family of Roxanne is convinced her boyfriend knows more than he's saying about her disappearance, so we tried to track him down and give him a chance to respond.
Mama, come in! Go ahead, Roxanne. There's something about Roxanne and the backstory that just sort of really sparks at your heart.
Beloved 18-year-old Roxanne Paltov has been missing for 2 weeks. Then a body is discovered near the Austin motel where she was last seen.
That was one of the most frightful times of my life.
But it's not Roxanne. The body belongs to a woman on the streets who swore to find answers, now forever silenced.
If you're found murdered under a bridge with paper towels shoved down your throat, to me that only means one thing, that they're trying to get her to shut up.
Or this woman to sort of wind up dead is strange. Could it be related? Absolutely.
But related to what exactly? As July turns into August, all anyone really knows is that she's still missing.
There's got to be somebody who knows something about what happened.
The Paltov family continues their desperate search for Roxanne.
My family has hope. There's always those stories of missing loved ones coming home.
And as for the last known person to see her alive, her boyfriend, Louis Walls.
He never once called us, why aren't you out here helping us look for her?
Turns out Louis is a busy man.
He was with another girl maybe a month afterwards.
That's right, Louis has a new girlfriend.
He just kind of navigated to another young girl, just another victim in his story.
But not if Roxanne's mom can help it.
I want to try to save her before it happened again. I brought the young girl over to my house, and I started showing pictures of my daughter. You know, she revealed a lot to me, and she was scared.
And for good reason. When Lewis's new girlfriend drops this bombshell,
he told her at one time, if you don't do what I tell you to do, the same thing is going to happen to you like that white girl Roxanne.
In the right company, Lewis will talk about it. Hey, I killed someone, and I'm out here, and they can't touch me.
But by the time detectives interview Lewis's girlfriend about this alleged killer confession,
Lewis, he knows when to make nice.
The girlfriend refuses to cooperate with cops. And as far as Lewis's alleged admission to murder, could you officially take him in, or does it have to be voluntarily?
It has to be voluntarily. I have no probable cause right now to arrest him. I've got sufficient circumstantial evidence. I've got hearsay. Unfortunately, people from the street, their credibility is not the best.
Sadly for the Paltoffs, the case goes cold. Months turn into years. Then
there was a tip, and the FBI was out, and it was in a field off Runberg, not far from the little strip of motels where she went missing.
Austin police call a press conference.
Because we have her last seen in this area, we believe that this is probably going to be a valuable tip for us.
And the tip?
There might have been some remains found in this field, so there was a big FBI excavation team, and they were up there sifting through the debris and dirt.
The reality, we just really hit home. You know, they are searching for her, and I broke down and cried, you know, it's like, you know, this is it.
We hope that we bring closure to a family today.
As investigators did, the Austin News Media and Roxanne's family wait, anticipating the absolute worst.
It was one of those, you know, terrible things where, on the one hand, you want to say, oh gosh, you know, maybe this is finally going to be put to rest, you know, so, and on the other hand, oh God, I don't want her to be dead.
They don't go out and put all this kind of money and manpower and time into something until they definitely got ahead. You know, they had search dogs and everything, and they truly believe Roxanne was there.
FBI agents and Austin homicide units spent all day digging in the field near the motel where Roxanne disappeared. But after hours of an extensive excavation for the missing girl's remains,
the FBI did not find Roxanne. They did not find remains,
leaving cops with no body and no suspects. But according to police, there remains two persons of interest in Roxanne's disappearance, Jeffrey Moore and Lewis Walls.
These two individuals, they have something to hide, and they're hiding it.
Detective Scott, who was the lead detective on the case, shares his theory on what he believes happened to Roxanne.
Jeffrey Moore, being a sexual predator, he hired prostitutes, and then he was rough with them. Lewis wanted Roxanne to prostitute herself out for his benefit. And I think what happened is those two worlds collided.
And Roxanne was caught in the middle.
Roxanne had no interest in that whatsoever.
And according to cops, it's possible her refusal to turn tricks may have gotten her killed.
Everything in the investigation points to that, unless something new comes to light. But without the testimony or complete cooperation of Jeffrey Moore or Lewis Walls, nothing new is ever going to come to light.
To date, Lewis Walls and Jeffrey Moore haven't been charged in connection with Roxanne's disappearance. It's a frustrating fact for the 23-year veteran detective.
I doubt not one bit that these two gentlemen are responsible for her demise.
Jeffrey Moore has since moved to Houston, but Crime Watch Daily gets a tip that Lewis Walls is still in the area. A private investigator who is working with us takes me to an apartment complex where Lewis Walls was spotted earlier in the day. Once and for all, I want to get his side of the story. So we have two cars, two different views on this apartment complex, looking for Lewis Walls. Really want to talk to him, and we're going to sit out here for a few more hours and hope we can find him. I hope to speak with the man who was the last known person to see Roxanne alive.
We waited here for several hours wanting to talk to him to see if he knows more than he's leading on, but he was a no-show.
Lewis Walls has yet to give an official statement to police, and sadly, for everyone who knew and loved Roxanne, life goes on without her.
Oh, you're so pretty, Paul.
Roxanne's sister Rosalind has since gotten married and had a baby. It's Elizabeth's first grandbaby, a little girl named Pearl.
My heart is broken, and it'll never mend. Little Pearl is going to help it. Thank God for that.
Every year on the anniversary of Roxanne's disappearance, her family hands out missing person flyers and talks to anyone who will listen.
I just keep marching forward, and I do it for me and for my family, especially for my mother and for Roxanne. When I think about all the good golden memories of her laughter, her jokes, our baby. She was just so funny. She was goofy, and I miss her so much.
It's time for someone to step up and tell the truth and help this family finally heal. If you know anything about Roxanne's disappearance, you can call Austin Crime Stoppers at 512-472-TIPS or leave a tip anonymously at crimewatchdaily.com. Coming up, a jilted husband takes heartbreak to another level, accusing a doctor of seducing his ex-wife into having an affair. Now he wants him to pay up. Our legal experts take on this wild lawsuit. This is between two people. Why does he feel the need to get $100,000? Then, a husband charged with his wife's murder, but he claims he can't remember the crime.
This is the guy who stabbed his wife, and we're just supposed to believe, oh, the cold meds did it.
We break down the bizarre case involving cold medicine. Next. It's time for Wild About Trial, where we discuss both sides of the most interesting legal cases going on around the country. For that, let me bring in attorneys Misty Maris and Jesse Weber. You guys ready to do battle?
I think so.
Ready to go. Our first case is out of North Carolina. This man's name is Mark Malachek, and this is his ex-wife, Amber. And while their marriage is over, the drama is not. That's because Mark claims a doctor at the office where Amber worked seduced his then-wife into having an affair which caused their divorce. So now he's suing the doctor for, quote, alienation of affection. And Jesse, he wants at least $100,000. Does he get it?
Well, let's talk about what alienation of affection is. It's really when a married person can sue someone because of their wrongful or malicious acts that causes that person to lose the affection of their spouse. And all you really have to show is that you were in a happy, tranquil marriage and someone came along and did something and ruined it. And here, I see that happening.
But Misty, this woman could have said no.
Yeah, this woman,
not been seduced.
She's an autonomous person who's making her own choices. When you're talking about this claim, one of the prerequisite requirements is that they were in this happy relationship. So any evidence to contradict that they had a solid relationship is going to work in the defendant's favor.
There are people in this society, they have the free will to do whatever they want. Doesn't mean it's right.
That's
doesn't
exactly
mean it's
what it is,
justified
Jesse.
under the law.
Free will. Why
No,
should the state
because
be
it's
involved
not-
in someone's autonomous decision to
Well,
engage
that's the
in an
question.
intimate
That's
relationship?
Why is this even in the courts? And this is between two people. She did what she did. He does what he does. Why does he feel the need to get $100,000?
Because this law prevents and provides a remedy for spouses that are hurt in these kinds of affairs. And also, it protects their societal benefits of marriage. There are societal benefits, and we need to preserve that because fidelity is a part of that commitment of marriage.
You're holding a person who's not part of that marriage, that contractual relationship, to
They're
the
to blame.
standard.
They're to blame.
not
They're to
part
blame.
of that marriage.
He had an affair with a married woman. It's over because of him. And
How good is your
ruined their
relationship
entire
if
relationship.
you're engaging in this affair?
Well, that's what needs to be discovered at trial.
What ultimately happens in this case?
I would be very surprised, and I think, Misty, you and I agree, I think this is going to settle. We've seen a lot of settlements. We saw a settlement for $30 million in North Carolina for this kind of thing.
$30 million. How is that possible?
Once this lawsuit goes forward, a lot of intimate information is going to be exchanged in the process of discovery. A lot of people don't want that.
Okay, our next story involves a 28-year-old man named Matthew Phelps. He's being charged with the murder of his wife, Lauren. The twist, Matthew is saying he is not guilty because he says he was under the influence of an extra large dose of cold medicine and doesn't remember stabbing her to death. Misty, come on. The cold medicine made me do it?
I know, Chris, it sounds crazy, but there's a full defense of involuntary intoxication. So to the extent that Phelps can prove he ingested the cold medicine, had a reaction he could not possibly have anticipated, he will be acquitted.
Jesse, do you buy that?
No, because involuntary intoxication, like you said, is about first-degree murder. He can be charged with something less. At the end of the day, this is a guy who stabbed his wife, and we're just supposed to believe, oh, the cold meds did it.
There was a 911 call. where he admits killing his wife.
I have blood all over me, and there's a bloody knife on the bed, and I think I did it.
Just because he did that doesn't mean that he's not guilty or didn't do anything wrong. He could easily have been like, okay, I'm going to call the police, act afraid, say that I was to blame the cold medicines, and try and get
So,
away with
Jesse,
murder.
you're saying there's no chance that the
This
involuntary
medicine
medication
has
is possible.
never had any adverse reaction
I
for violent
have to
tendencies.
tell you that is not the case. Has anybody heard of the robo-tripping, kids ingesting cough medicine in order to get a high, causing dissociative conditions, lack of
That
motor
doesn't
skills,
excuse them
and
from the crime.
hallucinations? It can,
That-
because you have to form intent in order to be
that's for,
murder.
but Chris, that's for first-degree murder. There's evidence that's been released that he has posted cryptic messages on social media that he said, there's something evil in my head. He's talked about suffering hallucinations, night terrors, delusions in the past.
Is that a setup?
No, which shows that he's to blame for her death, not the cold meds.
It seems to be that perhaps there's another defense under those circumstances. There could be an insanity defense based on the fact that he might have been hearing voices in his head, or there may have been some other medical condition at issue.
Oh,
The
come
medication.
on.
Remember, when you're talking about a case like this, we're looking at the defendant's mindset when the act occurred, not before, not after. You're looking at his mindset, whether or not he was dissociated at that time.
For sure, it's one of the most bizarre cases we've ever seen. Ultimately, what do you think happens here?
I think he's going to be convicted, if not first-degree murder, a lesser charge, but he is not getting away with this.
In a case like this, you're often going to see a plea deal come down for something much lesser than a first-degree murder, or even a second-degree murder. You're going to be looking at manslaughter or something like that.
I think we can all agree this is a tragic case all the way around. Misty, Jesse, thank you as always for a spirited debate.
A holiday season in Texas begins with the vanishing of a young mother and child. Law enforcement searches for answers, but with no physical evidence, the case goes cold. When the truth finally emerges, one determined prosecutor must take his quest for justice all the way to the United States Supreme Court.
Nobody should die that way.
I've never seen anything that horrific.
One of the duties of a pathologist is to determine the cause of death.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.